Krishna. Good afternoon. So I'm very, very happy to be with all of you today. My name is from home, Sibusiso Hlabat. And when I became ordained as a monk, I was given the name Savya Sachi Das. And Savya the monk is how you can connect with me on all social media. I teach, I speak, I share knowledge on Krishna consciousness, bhakti, meditation, yoga, happiness, religion, so basically life in general. I want to thank the esteemed professors and teachers for having us today. Last week, we had a beautiful program for the philosophy school. And there I met a young lady called Steph Nora. And we connected, she thought it would be good. I come today to speak about my particular religion. I think there are a lot of question marks I can see on your foreheads, some of you. You're curious to know certain things. So today, I want you to be free to ask those questions that you're wondering, should I ask that or not? That very question that you're doubting, please ask. Because it is said that we have to learn to love our neighbor as ourselves. So before you can love someone, you need to know something about that someone. Like if I tell you there is a very handsome man in driving, please love him. What do you say to me? Yes, questions, yes. You want to know something about it. So the first question is, he have money? So I say, yes, he has money. Is he tall? Yes. Is he fine? Then what's his name? So questions allow us to have more intimate knowledge about any subject or any person. So to love your neighbor as yourself, that means we have to get to know about who our neighbor is, what they are about. So I come from a tradition which is known as Gaudiya Vaisnavism. You have to write something down there. It is called that's an N. So Vaisnavism. Vaisnavism. So this Vaishnavism means followers of Vishnu or Krishna. This Vishnu and Krishna are the same personality. So the aim, the main idea is called Krishna consciousness. That the aim of this religion is to be always conscious of Krishna, which means always remember God and never forget Him. So when I say Krishna, I'm referring to God, the Supreme Personality. The word Krishna is Sanskrit. Any of you heard of the language Sanskrit? So the Sanskrit language is the oldest language on the planet. You can check linguistically, philosophically, you can research this. So Sanskrit. And this Sanskrit language is becoming common, everyday language. You've heard of the word karma, guru, yoga. Sometimes they talk about political pundits. All of these are Sanskrit words that are becoming part of the English language. So the main idea, or you could say philosophical idea, is that Krishna, or God, is the source of all living beings. And each living being is a part and parcel of Krishna, part and parcel of God. So God is eternal, yes. So a part of God is also eternal. Meaning the soul, every living being, is a part of God. Just like if you would take the ocean and you take a cup of the ocean water. By studying the cup of water, you can understand the chemical composition of the ocean. So in quantity, the cup is far inferior to the ocean. So God can be compared to the ocean, and every living being to a drop of that ocean. So God is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving, all-attractive, all-renowned, every quality in full. But then these qualities that are full, complete in God, they are found in us in smaller quantities. So Krishna can create. Can we create? You can't create. If I give you some rice and some spices, you can't create some jollof somewhere. The phone in your hand, someone has created something. So we all have creative power, but we cannot say that we have full creative power. God is the supreme controller. We also have some controlling power. Some people feel they are too much controlled in their relationship. Some people feel they're too controlled by the government. Some people are known as very controlling as friends. My friend is too controlling. So we have control, we have creative power, we have knowledge. But God has supreme knowledge. He knows everything. We know something. So with this, I'm showing that the drop of ocean water has the same qualities as the ocean. In the same way, the small spark of life, you and I, the soul, have the same qualities as the supreme soul, God. The difference is that in God, they are full and complete and unlimited. In us, they are minute. They are limited. So, Krishna consciousness then means how to always be aware that God is the owner of everything and of everyone, and that I have an eternal relationship with Him always, to be always conscious of God. So that could be AKA God consciousness, AKA Allah consciousness, AKA Jehovah consciousness, whatever names are being used to address the Supreme. So the name Krishna, there can be so many names for God, and there are. Why there are so many names for God? Because God has unlimited qualities. Even for something earthly or mundane, like water. In Yoruba, what do you call water? Omi. In Siswati, Nemanti. In Zulu, Amanzi. In Hindi, it's Pani. In Bengali, it's Jol. So, if we start fighting, no, it's Amanzi. You say, and then someone comes and says, Come on, guys. It's the same substance. We are calling it different names. So in the same case, God is one. There can only be one source of everything. There cannot be two. The definition means from whom everything comes from. So what is happening is that the different names describe his different qualities, his powers, his abilities. So Krishna, this word means God is all attractive. God is all attractive. Why is he all attractive? Someone may say, well, I'm not attracted to him. So this all attractive name is not correct. So everyone is attracted to God. How? Because we are attracted to his energy. Like we see a beautiful sunset, we are attracted. But if we could look all the way through, what is the sun? Who created it? Who gave it power? It goes back to God. We are attracted to wealth. He is the owner of all wealth. So we may not notice that wealth has its source in God, but we are attracted to him. We are attracted to beautiful things. So God is the most beautiful. So this word Krishna, this name, describes him as all attractive. So in this Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it is a subset of what is famously known as Hindu religions. If you want that box, that umbrella, then you can have, it's a, now I'll give you the technical name of the philosophy. Be ready. It is called, I'll give you the full, complicated, nice, Polymorphic by there's an M at the end. Who can read it out loud? Polymorphic by monotheism. Okay. So we'll start at monotheism. You're all aware what monotheism is, of course. Uh-huh. So since yes, I will take from you, Nora. I heard you say loud.
Okay, what's the
One God. Monotheism. And poly means many. Morphic, transforming, expanding. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism teaches that Krishna is the supreme person, one. But that Krishna, he expands into different forms to do different activities, to reside in different planets, to be able to deal with different love or relationships or attractions that people have for him. Right? So one God, Krishna, supreme person, who expands into different forms, many forms, polymorphic. Oh, this one is the kicker. Just when we thought Krishna is so complicated, one person can expand into many forms, then the original understanding of divinity is supreme feminine and supreme masculine. So when you come across Krishna, you find there is the divine feminine, Radha, and Krishna. So what is going on there is that God, for his enjoyment, for his pleasure, if you can take the ability of God to enjoy and make that a person, that is Radha. That is the energy of God. So I give you an analogy that the sun planet, if I go out on the road and I say to you, I'm standing in the sun, do you argue with me? Yes, no, no. So the sun planet is somewhere up, very far. Yet the same sun planet is available for us outside through its rays. So then someone who says, I am standing in the sun, is associating with the sun through the energy of the sun rays. So there cannot be sun rays without sun. They come from the sun. So God has his energies, innumerable energies that work intelligently, as if automatically. Just like the sun is rising in the morning, is setting at a certain time, the moon is happening, the rains are taking, the rivers are flowing, seasons are coming. So many systems are working, but they are all working under the superintendence of Krishna, of God. So in Gaudiya Vaisnavism, then we understand God to be supreme masculine and supreme feminine. That is known as Radha Krishna. So in that sense, polymorphic by monotheism. So at the top of what is known as Godhead, is another term. So Godhead means, although there is this one God, because he expands into many forms and presides over innumerable planets, then there are all these gods who are the same one person who has expanded. I give an example to slow it down. We walk into this room and we find many candles that are lit. So all these candles, they may look different, some of them look the same. They give off the same light and heat. Someone may ask that, which is the original candle that lit all the other candles? So Krishna is that original candle that has lit many other candles. So it is him, just in a different manifestation, different mood, different form, different complexion, to do many things. So that's why then this term Godhead, it doesn't mean that there is more than one supreme. It's just that supreme in his different features. So that is described in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That's the one higher level. Then when we come into the material world where we are, is now what is famous in Hinduism, that there are many gods in Hinduism. You've heard that, you know about that. In fact, it said 33 million, but these are called demigods. Demigods would be something like, say, the president of this country, example. Right now, there's president-elect, you don't have yet, huh? Okay, say he was there. Then, in this analogy, he would be God, Krishna. And then, his cabinet can be said to be the demigods. There's Minister of Education, of Finance, of Agriculture, so many departments. So the demigods, or the ministers, they get their power from the presidency. But they are not the president. But if you want quick deal, you know, you want some tender. In South Africa, it's very popular, like corruption. They call them tenderpreneurs. They bribe someone in the department to get a certain tender to fix the roads, to do this, to do that. So those who don't want to follow the natural system, who have material desires, they break the law and they bribe so that they can get quick benefits materially. So also the universe has these 33 million gods. where you hear God of love, God of wealth, of water, of wind. There's so many names you might have heard of: Shiva, Brahma, Chandra, Ganesh. So there are all these demigods. They are not God. They are not even competition to God. They are the ministers to take care of this material world. They are not even in the spiritual world. But for children, the father and mother are very powerful people. Until you grow up and you see, my mother also is struggling, can't do this, can't do that. Similarly for humans, the demigods who have lots of jurisdiction power to control so many things, they're very powerful. And if we go to them and we do different worship, we get some material benefits. Krishna, though, in the Bhagavad-gita, which is so sad that... Did we bring a copy? Please, let me show. Have it. So, I'm introducing now the ABC text of this Krishna consciousness, or what we call Gaudiya Vaisnavism. It's called Bhagavad-gita. Any of you heard of the book Bhagavad-gita? Let me write it down. So you look for Bhagavad-gita as it is. So I'll explain the word. It's also another Sanskrit word. Bhaga means opulences or riches. Vad means one who possesses all riches, all wealth. So God is also known as Bhagavan. But when he's addressed, then it said Bhagavad, the one who possesses all riches. And Gita means song. So it is the song of the Supreme who possesses all wealth. It's called Bhagavad-gita as it is. It's got 700 verses. And it is a dialogue between Krishna and one prince of the name Arjuna. So, what is happening in Africa in this way is that somehow or the other, we have learned to tolerate reading books by Scott and John and Macmillan and whoever. And we learn these names, we don't worry, who's this Peter, who's this John, who's this Luke? But then when other languages come, we're frustrated now. What are these names? So anyway, most of the scriptures of the religions that we have are from languages that are not from the continent. So Sanskrit is the main language that is used in the Bhagavad. It's the only language of the Gita. So Krishna and Arjuna are discussing in the Bhagavad-gita. And I would say Bhagavad-gita has 5 main topics. Making sure it's not too long. So, first topic is God. Who is God? What is God? 2, it is the souls, the living entities. Who are we, the living beings? What is the souls? The third topic is material nature. Which material nature? Like, what's all this stuff made of? The trees, the water, the seasons, the sun, that is affecting us every day. What is this body made of? That is material nature. Number 4, time. What is time? Most of the time it is imperceptible. Like you don't notice when your fingernails grew, but then you see they're there. So time is discussed, and anyway, Krishna says, time I am, the great destroyer of all the worlds. Means there's nothing under the sun that time will not crush. In due course of time, even the entire universe will be destroyed. Therefore, we're in a temporary world. So understanding time and knowing that it's Krishna's way of control, of managing things beginning to end, then we have to value, what am I doing with my time as a soul? What am I doing that death, which is another department of time, that death won't take away? Just look at your life. 10, 20 years now, we are in the 20 to 40 bracket, maybe all of you, and then a little more. It's a big chase. And they've told us, get an education, get a job, get a partner, get a house, maybe some kids, maybe flat screen TV, and maybe go out and eat fast food, maybe travel. And then what happens? In due course of time, the body, by the time you have all the resources, everything laid out, there's no more power to enjoy the thing falling apart. So time is controlling our activity. But Krishna explains that the human body, because the dog has a body, the cockroach has a body. The cockroach, the dog, and the human being, they have 4 things in common. This is interesting, Krishna says. Have you ever thought there's something in common between yourself and a cockroach? Yeah, the cockroaches, they also see the opposite sex and things. So, 4 things. Eating. We eat, animals eat. We sleep, they sleep. We defend our so-called territory, we fight for it. They also fight and defend. And they are also into mating. We have sex, they have sex. So Krishna says, if a human being, their whole life is about where is food, where is safety, where is sex, and how to defend, and where to sleep, then that human being is no better than an animal. We're basically 2-legged animals. So Krishna is inspiring us in this book So this is Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita as it is. So within this book, we are being inspired to use the software that is available in the human being to understand ourselves, the soul, to understand time. I didn't mention the 5th item, right? Recall God, the soul, material nature, time, and number 5 is called karma. Karma, which means activities. Karma. Karma, yes. So, of these 5, 4 of them are eternal. 4 are eternal. God is eternal. The soul is eternal. Sometimes the language varies in different groupings. But when we say soul, we mean the spiritual spark, that part of that gives life to this machine. That is, the soul is eternal, God is eternal, material nature, the energy of nature is eternal. And time. Karma or activities are temporary. Means karma can be changed. What do I mean? Prof announces a test next week. If I decide to study, then I have a chance to pass the test. If I know there's a test next week and I do other things and not study, then I'm already influencing the future. So karma means every action has a reaction. You overeat now, you struggle later. You get stung by a malaria infected mosquito, you get malaria. Action and reaction. So as young people, the good advice has to bring us to understand that right now you are creating your future. So we've introduced then Bhagavad-gita as the ABC. This is the entry level. And then graduate study, there's one called Srimad Bhagavatam. So this one is 18,000 verses. Who remembers how many is Bhagavad-gita? 700 years. Like that. So, in your further investigation of this Gaudiya Vaishnavism, see, we have created power. We can extend the voice now, right up to screen. So, in your forward study of this Gaudiya Vaishnavism or Krishna consciousness, these are the two reference books you can look for. Bhagavad-gita as it is, and the Srimad Bhagavatam. As a monk, or you could say a teacher, a preacher, the teacher that has brought this information out in the rest of the world, his name is Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. But I'll make it very easy. It's very easy to find him if you just search Srila Prabhupada. On Google, you just say Prabhupada, he will show up. His institution is called Iskcon. Srila Prabhupada. So I mentioned him to introduce the one point that spiritual knowledge, to get it genuine and untampered with, it requires a disciplic line. There must be a history to this knowledge. We're saying that God spoke this book. He spoke to Arjuna. Krishna spoke to Arjuna over 5,000 years ago. A historical event, a place called Kurukshetra, there was going to be a war. And before that war began, this dialogue took place. So over these 5,000 years, this knowledge has been coming down through what is known as disciplic succession. The teacher takes students, and then the students themselves become teachers, and they take students. And so like that, the information is brought down. So Srila Prabhupada is then that personality in the 60s who brought this information to the wider world. He came to Africa, first time in 72, he came to Nairobi, Kenya. He also he's been to South Africa, which other African country? Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, and Mauritius. Yeah. So, in the interest of time, I will also just say I'll open it up now for some questions. We just did a more high-level introduction of the whole religious system and the concepts which it teaches. we haven't really come down to how it affects us and also the personal side of someone who follows this, lives this, how that plays out in one's life. So is there any thoughts that you have, even if it's not on what I've mentioned, but it's something you had in mind? I can start with that. Thanks.
Thank you for that sensitivity lecture you gave us. I really enjoyed it. I hope I was also enjoying it. I have two questions, sir. I want to know the difference between the Hinduism and Krishna. Are they the same thing? So the first question. Then, second one is the about issue of law of karma. The main nature of karma in your nature. And what it means that whatever you sow you reap. I don't know whether that idea was taken from the Krishna because I found this for invisible material, the law of karma, you catch the gene, you do certain things. Because the law of karma means that when you come to the world, maybe you are very fleshless, as a man with other women. Then after your death, you come back as dog. I don't know whether it's the same thing in the Krishna. I want to know the origin of that profound law of karma. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Two questions. First question, the difference between Hinduism and Krishna consciousness or Hare Krishna. So, Hinduism is generally understood as polytheistic. It's where the demigods that I mentioned, the 33 million universal managers, where there's a lot of worship of those demigods. How it became Hinduism is that there's a place in Asia by the Indus Valley. So there's the river Sindhu that flows there. So the people and the culture of the people across the Indus or Sindhu River were called by the Muslims on the other side. They pronounce Sindhu, they call it Hindu. So then the people, the culture, the religions across the Sindhu River became Hinduism. In the scriptures themselves, you will not find the word Hindu in the scriptures. But these scriptures are shared by all the religions of the East which are under the umbrella of Hinduism. So it will be like, say, the Bible. There's so many divisions and churches under Christianity, for example, that all use the same Bible. But their teachings may vary a bit. They may unite in accepting in Christ as the Lord and Savior. So Hinduism and Krishna consciousness, they agree on this Bhagavad-gita as the primary scripture. But Hinduism tends to lean on the side of, depends which god you are attracted to. Culturally different, you say the Gujaratis, the Marathis, the Bengalis, they have different deities that they lean towards. Some will worship Shiva, some will worship Ganesh, some will worship Kartikeya, so there's so many gods with a small g. Whereas Krishna consciousness is monotheistic, sticking to the supreme God, Krishna, the source of the world. So in that way, yeah, they share a culture, but philosophically they differ. In that this one is monotheistic and Hinduism is more polytheistic. The second part of karma, you reap what you sow. It's just that what goes around comes around. Things you do come back to you. It's universal. It may be called different names in different traditions. But we all understand that if I plant a carrot, I can't expect a cabbage to grow from there. So our activities, good or bad, they produce some results. So because you and I, the soul, we say the soul is eternal. The body, however, is not. So now, here's an example. You go to the cinema to watch a movie, but because of Lagos traffic, you get there late, 30 minutes late. You sit down and then you see the hero of the movie is beating up an old woman, kicking her, and everyone is clapping hands. You're shocked. What type of people are this? But then you don't know that 15 minutes earlier, that same old lady was chopping up children and making them into some stew for her cats. So that is to say that when we are witnessing a small baby, welcome to the world. What is new is the body. The person who's in that body is not new. The body is formed in the womb, but it is your body and my body that we get in the mother's womb. If we notice our bodies, what happened to that kuchu body? We all don't have it. What happened to our 10-year-old body? It's not there, but you and I remember I was 5, I was 10, I was 2 years old. So I am that soul who hasn't changed from the womb till I'm 70. It will still be me, although the body would have changed. Final change is called death. It's no longer useful to me, this body, it doesn't work. Therefore, the pastor, the imam, the reverend, the guru, they say, so-and-so has left us. Who has left? Because the child will say, but there's mommy in the coffin. So if we are just the body, then why are we crying saying my father is gone when I'm at the funeral? The funeral we get to see the person who was in the body is no longer in there. That's why even if it's Miss Nigeria, nobody wants to look at the body. Because the person, the soul, the spirit, is not there. And the spirit is who we are. That's what we are actually attracted to. Body minus spirit is scary. People don't want to look at it. So that spirit has a past. Like that old lady, she did something horrible earlier. That's why 30 minutes later she's getting beaten up. But because we are looking at the movie 30 minutes late, or we are looking at the history of the soul from this small baby, meow, we're thinking innocent. But we don't know what this person has done previously. So that is why each and every one of us have our unique, different circumstances. Your body, the type of family you are in, the good, the bad that has happened to you, is all in the fair justice system. You reap what you sow. That is God.